welcome to Toons. I'm Luke, and in today's video, we're going to be discussing the Ghost of Elias Kingston on The Myth Behind the Monsters. I know what you're thinking. Slightly new intro, slightly new set, brand new t-shirt. Well, I suppose I couldn't do every episode of this series rotating the same 2 t-shirts. On with the show. The Ghost of Elias Kingston first appeared in the 6th episode of the 1st season of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? What the heck's going on? Or in some territories, what the hex is going on? The gang go to visit their friend Sharon at the Weatherby estate and come across her Uncle Stuart near the Kingston mansion, who claims to have been hexed to old age by the ghost of Elias Kingston, who demands his fortune be returned to him. Whilst the gang are sleeping, Sharon is kidnapped by the ghost, so they must investigate to save their friend. A series of clues lead them to an old swarmy shop, where they discover that things might not be as spooky as they seem. Spoiler alert for a 50-year-old episode. It turns out that Uncle Stuart was the ghost of Elias Kingston all along, and had faked the rapid aging to convince them the threat was real. He wanted the family fortune all to himself, and planned to use a swarmy shop to help him get away. The Ghost of Elias Kingston is the ghost of a man who presumably left his fortune to Sharon's father, Mr. Weatherby. To be honest, it's never made 100% clear in the episode who Elias Kingston is, or why his fortune belongs to the Weatherbys, so we're just going to have to make some assumptions on that one. But when you assume, so another ghost. Not had any of them recently, have we? But this one's different. He's got blue skin and powers. He is seen to control magic, such as the ability to hex someone into rapidly aging, as well as the ability to communicate through crystal balls and levitate objects. Hey, this is the part of the show where I remind you to like the video. It really helps out the video and allows more people to break the myth behind the monster. And if you're not subscribed yet, why not? Hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you can be notified the next time there's a monster on the loose. Well, believe it or not, gang, there was no Elias Kingston. He wasn't a real person. Shock horror! I know, right? Well, for this episode, we're going to take a look at some of his magical abilities. For instance, the hex that caused Uncle Stuart to rapidly age. Now, this really is a fairly fictitious trope. There is an incredibly rare disease that causes people's bodies to have accelerated growth. However, that is something people are born with, and it is incredibly rare, so we're mainly going to stick to the hexes for this one. Now, rapid aging is a fairly common trope found throughout mythology and fiction. However, it's traditionally used as a consequence whenever a person with eternal youth suddenly loses said ability. Whenever they return from another world with decreased aging, such as the land of the fairies, or the source of their eternal youth, be it the Fountain of Youth or the One Ring, is destroyed. However, the ability for someone to cause another person to age rapidly seems to be a fairly recent trope. As I said before, rapid aging caused by another person was a trope that started to pop up in film and television not too long before this episode aired. The 1945 film The Man in Half Moon Street features a man who requires a gland transplant every 10 years to stay young. When he fails to do so, he rapidly ages to his correct age and dies. The film was remade in 1959 into The Man Who Could Cheat Death. The 1964 episode of The Twilight Zone, Queen of the Nile, features a scarab beetle that is used to drain the youth out of men to allow the woman using it to stay young. The Doctor Who serial The Daleks' Master Plan, which aired from November 1965 to January 1966, featured the character Sarah rapidly dying of old age when the Time Destructor bomb goes off destroying all the Daleks. The 1966 episode of Gilligan's Island, Meet the Meteor, featured a meteor that would cause people who went near it to rapidly age. Additionally, this episode in particular seems to draw a lot of influence from the 1966 series Dark Shadows, including the Kingston Mansion being based on the Kerry Mansion, which also dubbed for Collingwood in the live-action series. And it is Kingston Mansion which you would see at the beginning of every episode of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? In the opening sequence. Another monster who appeared in the show's iconic opening sequence, helping him to become one of the more iconic monsters, being as viewers would see him every week. The Ghost of Elias Kingston appears in the video game Scooby-Doo, Who's Watching Who's first level, The Haunted Hotel, which is a loose adaptation of What the Hex is Going On. He is seen as an animated costume in Two Mice Make It Wrong from the Scooby-Doo team-up comic. During Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, one of the costumes in the background of the Coulsonian Criminology Museum appears to resemble the Ghost of Elias Kingston. However, it is labelled as the Mortician. And out of pretty much all the costumes in the museum, this is probably one of the hardest costumes to actually get a good picture of. So sorry about the bad quality. The very first episode of Be Cool Scooby-Doo chose to reimagine the Ghost of Elias Kingston Kingston by having him be a ghoul who haunted Kingston University. He is one of the many monsters featured in the CGI recreation of the Scooby-Doo Where Are You opening at the beginning of Scooby. The Ghost of Elias Kingston has been seen in various forms of media over the years, including some promotional material, as well as being made into his very own action figure. This episode is actually the first and only time we hear Daphne say "Jeepers" in the original series of Scooby-Doo Where Are You? Thanks for watching this week's The Myth Behind the Monsters. Tune in next week when we take a look at Manate. What do you think of the Ghost of Elias Kingston? Just a generic ghost villain, or did you find his hexes to be an interesting twist? Let us know down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers. Thanks for watching Tube of Toons. If you want more from the channel, hit subscribe. If you want to keep up to date with what's going on, follow us on our socials. Hope you liked it. Cheers.